Now, as we can see, Oracle has laid off workers due to investments in AI. Let's see what this former employee has to say about it.
Well, it's unfortunately come to my attention that Oracle has began to lay off over 30,000 employees starting this morning, 6 a.m. with a cold email. Access denied immediately. Layoffs have been strategic, but not because the company is failing. Oracle is aggressively investing in AI and cloud data centers, as most companies have been. They're cutting jobs to free up about 8 to 10 billion in cash to fund this expansion, and the company has also taken tens of billions in debt to support its AI push. Layoffs are happening across multiple countries, including US, India, Canada, Mexico. Entire divisions affected include SaaS, health, operations, revenue. My heart goes out to these people that have been affected. This is an unfortunate situation, but I want you guys to remember, like I've always said to you, be prepared for anything. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Make sure that you are prepared to move on to the next opportunity if you need to. Position yourself for that. Don't ever rely on stability. That's gone.
Agreed. But it's a lot easier said than done. Look, you're going to have to figure out ways to earn money outside of work. You may need to upskill, pivot, and figure out what's best for you. Sometimes when you hear this rhetoric, it sounds as though it's simple, but we live in economic uncertainty. People aren't hiring the way they were 5, 10 years ago. So you can't just pivot and find a new role. It's not going to be as easy as just clicking a finger. It doesn't work like that. Not saying it's impossible, but it's not as easy as some people make it seem. In addition, some of these jobs require you to work 60, 90, 100 hours a week. Maybe not at the office, but you're going to be thinking about the job. You're going to be taking the job home. So it's not as easy as just use your free time because you may not have free time. Now, is this the case for everybody? Absolutely not. But it certainly is the case for some. Having said that, I do agree with the overall message. Like, you need to figure out a way to make money on your own terms, by yourself outside of work, because you cannot rely on that corporate structure that once existed. You're not going to have that career trajectory that your parents or your grandparents had. It simply doesn't exist. Now, some of you may fight back and say, yeah, it exists for me. It exists for people that I know. You're the fortunate few. For most people, they're going to have to chop and change, pivot, and figure out new ways to earn income because the meta of old is not the meta of today. Listen to what this guy has to say.
There's layoffs and then there's bad company layoffs. This is a bad company layoff because this is what just happened. At 6 a.m., Oracle sent out this email essentially cutting 30,000 employees with no warning. And all they got for severance was 4 weeks plus an additional week for every year they've been in employment. And by this point, we've seen the trends already with other companies doing this. But what's really alarming is that a month ago, this was their stock price. And after making the layoffs, now this is their new stock price. The scariest part to this is that it's not just one function that was impacted, like back office, finance, or HR. It's tech, it's operations, it's all of these roles that have been impacted by this. Again, what does this mean for you? I think other companies are gonna see this and see how stocks rise after making cuts and investing in AI. And I think other companies are gonna follow suit. So what can you do? What can I do? I wish I had this magic formula to say, like, if you do this or you're in this role, everything will be okay. I think for the next few months, there's going to be a lot of volatility. There's going to be a lot of layoffs. There's going to be a lot of this news. The best thing you could do right now is invest in your skills for the future. Keep your opportunities available. Maybe even do a side hustle. But the one thing for sure is never be overly loyal to any one company.
He's spot on. I agree with him 100%. If you can earn more money outside of work, do so. If you can pivot to another firm that pays you more and gives you better opportunities, do so. There's no loyalty in this game. Companies do not give you loyalty, so the loyalty shouldn't be one-sided. If they can treat you as dispensable, you should be able to do the same. Now, am I saying have a bad attitude, don't turn up to work and do your actual job? No. But what I am saying is that you need to put yourself first and think about money ahead of what the business says, because ultimately they're thinking about maximizing shareholder value. They're not really thinking about you. Just remember that. Now let's take a step back. He mentioned something important, which I think we need to expand on. The reason why companies will continue to spew this rhetoric to boost their stock price, despite the fact the news may seem negative, is because the market deems it as positive. Why is that? When the market hears that a company is investing in AI and they're cutting headcount to maximize profits, to widen margins, to improve efficiencies, to increase revenue. This seems like a good story, at least for the time being. Time will tell whether that's true, but the market is anticipating that it will be true. And as such, stock prices will increase. Now, if other companies see this and they're like, hold on, They've mentioned they're investing in AI and they're cutting headcount and their stock price went up. They're going to do the same thing. So we may see more of this type of news in the market in the near-term future. It's unfortunate, but it's true. To his point, though, you need to think about ways of future-proofing your career, of ensuring that you can still earn income, and ensuring that your needs are met, right? That your bills are paid. And the way to do that is by upskilling, pivoting to somewhere that pays you more and gives you better opportunities, potentially taking on another role somewhere else alongside work, or maybe even starting a side hustle. And I know it's difficult. We don't have all the time in the world and we actually want to live our lives, but the way cost of living is going, the way inflation is going, it may be a necessary evil, at least for the short to medium term future. In any case, what would be interesting to know is what you guys think about this topic. Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I shall see you in the next one. Peace.